I'm Eric Larson at Teletics, and today what we're going to show you is our new harness cloud-based monitoring system for our intercom. I've got a demo system here in our Calgary office, and it's going to be the system that we're talking to, and we're going to show you how you interact with the system from the internet. We introduced Harness in 2019 as a way for our customers to do a more effective job of supporting their remote sites and also lower field service costs. You can access Harness from anywhere on the internet through any web browser by going to harness.teletics.com and then clicking the login button. Here, our demo system is called Beethoven. I'm logging in as the administrator of Beethoven. And the two areas that I need to focus on is one is the settings page. This is where you do the initial system setup. The serial number of the feature server is here. Whatever site ID you want to name the site that you're setting up. And then we also use something called group ID for the radio side, and that's entered in here as well as an email address where you can get diagnostic information, or if any of the tests fail, you'll get an alert. On the asset side of the site, you've got 3 stations on this demo system, and there's 3 important time intervals. There's a time interval that the system reports that it's still out there and it's working. There's a check interval at which it runs the diagnostics that you've selected here. And there's a report interval, which essentially runs all of these diagnostics on a daily basis. Over here, you set what happens when these diagnostics fail, if they fail. Do you want an email if there's a ping that fails? Do you want an email if you're having problems with interfering devices at the site? Do you want an email if you've got a phone that's failing, or any number of other diagnostics? To see the results of the individual diagnostics as they're being run, you can go over to the status page, and in this case, I see the results of my last ping test. So 11, 12, and 13, as well as the feature server, are all up, powered up and healthy. If I go back to status, I can also look at version. Version is the firmware levels as well as the software that was used to do programming and configuration, both at the factory and also at the field level. So one example might be that if you have a field technician that's using an old version of programming software, and whatever he's doing is creating a problem for individual sites, you can look at all of your sites and find out where that happened and make corrective action on a bulk basis rather than doing it individually. And it gives you a complete audit trail of anything that's been done at any particular site. In the signal level, you can actually see what's going on with the radio signal level health. In this case, on the demo system, what we've done is we've put what are called test loads on the outputs of the radios. So they're artificially low even though the radios are very close together. So a technician that looks at this can say, okay, I've got an issue with these particular signal levels. Either I've got a bad antenna, or maybe the customer has put something in the way of the antennas between the radios. And then sometimes you can save yourself a field visit by knowing that. All of the information that's being recorded by Harness is put into logs. So we've got historic information up to a year later. So one example might be is that the site is working fine and then all of a sudden one day something changes. You can basically look at something like the channel diagnostic and see if there's interfering equipment that's being introduced to the site. So one example here is we've got Wi-Fi that is in the building that is an issue because of our existing signal level. If our signal level is healthy, it wouldn't be a problem. But a good example of what's happened to some of our customers on their remote sites is equipment shows up that's not authorized and starts affecting their ability to provide a quality service to their customers. They can look at historic data and they can see essentially the day that happened and track down what occurred. There's also information in the feature server that is more standard voice over IP logging. So things like unreachable is where a radio comes and goes, is on the network, leaves, comes back, and that can be caused by bad radio signal level, interference, or a number of things. But we track all of that, and again, we record it historically so that we can see when it starts. And then, of course, you can take corrective action based on the information that you see here. Also, there's a diagnostic on the radio side that allows you to essentially ask the network the question, who is the one radio that nobody can talk to and that nobody can hear. And if that diagnostic doesn't pass, then there's an issue that either a station is too far away or something has been put in between that station and the rest of the network. We also provide diagnostics on the phone. So something that happens with temporary installations quite a bit is you get a phone that has its cable crushed or short-circuited because of something that's mechanically happened on site. This will show up here. So you'll have a status on the phone is off hook and stays off hook. And in a lot of cases you can see that before the customer does, so you can get out and fix it. Last but not least is the reboot function. We can actually reboot any of the devices remotely from harness from anywhere. So if you have a reason to think that the feature server needs to be rebooted because of a power issue or something along those lines, all of it can be done here. And when you click the radio reboot and click reboot next beat, it will issue that command within a couple of minutes, and that radio will reboot remotely without you having to go out to the site. So that's an introduction to our Teletics harness system. If you like what you see, please click subscribe, and we'll see you on our next video.